Jane,
Yes.
I need a hand. I know you told me to upload the podcast.
Yes.
Because while you're like throwing dinner on, but
Yeah.
I'm struggling to work out which one's the final file that I'm supposed to upload.
Yeah, so it's Q&PS,
Yeah.
and then EP,
Yeah.
and then the episode number,
Yeah.
and then hyphen the file name,
Yeah.
underscore, final, hyphen, V2, because I had to redo that thing.
Yeah.
And then it's final all lowercase, because there was that other problem we found, and then it's underscore definitely for realsies this time, final last definite version for upload, this one for shortsies.
Okay, I got
2.
that. Okay. Well, I got that far. But is it the one that says finished or the one that says complete?
Check the length of the file. It's whichever one's longer.
Okay.
Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Magnet Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet Dale, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers.
That's us.
It's a podcast where two queer trans women, that's us, we're wifey types, and we have a little bit of a catch-up about media we've consumed in the week, while doing a little bit of silly nonsense in between.
Oh,
How are you doing?
I'm a sleepy little bean.
I am an exhausty little bean. I'm very sleepy.
Yeah,
very
same.
sleepy. I'm in a big sleepy mood. Final deadlines for the AA showcase at the moment we're recording
Which final
this.
V2 deadlines for the...
Oh, so many. It's the version with sprinkles.
With sprinkles or without
yeah,
sprinkles?
it's with sprinkles, I think, is the one. Yeah. It's been a week of many work things coming up.
Oh, yeah.
But somewhere in there I found time to play stuff.
You played some things.
Yeah, I
well,
played
this
some
is usually
things.
the segment where we talk about things we
Yeah.
played, so why not do that now?
I'm going to jump into one that I've been playing. So I started playing Nightmare Kart. And this, you might
This
have...
is definitely not Bloodborne Kart.
Definitely not Bloodborne Kart. I don't know why you'd even bring Bloodborne up. It's so in no way related to Bloodborne. Legally distinct. It is a PS1-looking graphics game made by the person who made Bloodborne PS1 remake.
Yes.
Or demake. But it is also a N64-style kart racer in the vein of Mario Kart that has a campaign story mode.
Yes.
It's a lot of things at once, this game.
It wants to be a lot of things.
It wants to be a lot of things.
It doesn't
and
need to be in a box.
I'm honestly pretty impressed at how well this game is being a lot of different things. Because, like, to start, it is a Mario Kart-style kart racer, but with kind of Bloodborne-y PS1 aesthetic over it. It has a few of its own unique little mechanics.
Yes.
It borrows some stuff clearly from Mario Kart, like you've got the drifting, but drifting isn't directly getting you like a boost when you stop drifting. Instead, it's filling up a meter that can be used to use boosts whenever you want.
Ooh.
So you're sort of building up these canisters you can use as boosts later. The boost doesn't have to be immediately following the drift, which is kind of an interesting tweak. There's a lot of stuff that this does where it's like, oh, I can see how you took something Mario Kart-ish and tweaked it a little bit to make it your own. If you go off a jump, you can press the drift button to like do a little trick in the air.
Nice.
And instead of getting a boost as you land, it sort of acts more like when you pick up coins in Mario Kart and it increases your max speed.
Okay.
There is weapons that you pick up sort of the way you would with Mario Kart item boxes. One of the nice things it does is, let's say I got a shotgun from one of those item boxes, and it gave me 2 shots, and I used one of them to shoot another driver, and then picked up another item box. It would refill my shotgun rather than rolling something new. So if you don't entirely use up a multi-use item, you can strategically go get more ammo for it.
Interesting.
Which, again, interesting little tweak.
Does that have an equivalent to a blue shell?
If it does, I've not played enough of it to get a solid sense of this is the blue shell equivalent. I do like that there's, for a lot of the weapons, a degree of auto-target. There is, like, melee range weapons, which is interesting.
That makes sense. A Bloodborne. I mean, what?
not a blood...
A nightmare. In my nightmares. Yes,
Yeah.
very good at melee.
But, like, you know, it starts being like, this is a cool little weird take on Mario Kart. But then also there are boss battles.
Ooh.
And the way that boss battles work, and this kind of goes into one of the other things that makes the control scheme a little different from Mario Kart, is that you've got the accelerate button and the brake button, and if you do them both at once, you can essentially you can just, like, stop still and turn on the spot. You can do such a dramatic turn.
Right.
And you could use that for, like, doing a really sharp turn, like if you want to handbrake turn. But you could also do it to just strategically do a very tight turnaround on the spot for if you are doing a boss fight against another enemy and you're like, okay, I've got to go pick up my little item box to get a weapon and I'm doing my little drive-by pass, shoot them as I go past. Okay, well, I've got to do a quick 180 to be facing the boss again. Do your little handbrake turn. Stay out the way of the boss while it's doing its big damaging attack.
Yeah.
And beating bosses in the campaign mode typically unlocks a new cart and a new weapon.
Oh my.
Which is pretty neat. There's like there's an equivalent of the battle mode from Mario Kart where you have the one where you have the sort of balloons above you and you're trying to shoot each other in a sort of enclosed arena. But there's also like I was playing it last night. I was like 2 hours in and I came across essentially a capture the flag mode minigame. A lot of creative stuff that feels pretty decent in what is supposed to be a Mario Kart engine. The plot, it sure changed a few letters in some character names to make it legally distinct. Father Gascoigne, never heard of him. Father Gregory, though, he's got a similar design, don't ask about it, it's legally distinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Greg have sausage rolls?
Greg does not have sausage rolls, no.
Disappointing.
If you've played Bloodborne, you will look at this and go, I know who Father Gregory is. I can see that's maybe someone called Gascoigne, perhaps. But no, he says he's called Gregory, so it's definitely not him. For a game that it's at the moment, like, when we record this, it's not yet up on Steam, but it was up on itch.io, and I think it's, like, suggested price, like, a couple of quid, or pay what you want. You can even just download it for free if that is your wish. Surprising amount of depth to what it is offering in its single-player content.
Yeah.
Very impressed at how well they legally distinctified everything, given how short a turnaround they did that on. It's a neat little project.
I guess that's easier to do when you're working in such low res, because you can just call it something different, and there's enough abstraction there.
Possibly, but I also know game development doesn't like you pulling things out and replacing things with a nearly complete thing. Was that intellectual property you were copying a load-bearing piece of intellectual property?
Well, I just meant things like text, because you can just re-text.
But there's some tweaked character models and things and elements that were like, oh, that's definitely a Bloodborne, have been changed enough to be like, I know what you're getting at with it. But I'm impressed at how quickly they turned it around as well as they did. Yes, it's a neat little project.
Excellent. And is that it? Is there plans to do more development to it? Is it?
I know it's getting updates. I think I know that some of them were bug fix related. I have no idea if it's getting more content or anything.
Any multiplayer, couch co-op online network?
Off the top of my head, I think it has split screen local multiplayer. But it is coming to Steam, and Steam does have a thing where if a game doesn't have online multiplayer, as long as the dev ticks a box to say, yeah, Steam, that's fine, you can do couch split screen over the internet with someone.
Yes.
So, yeah. What about you? What have you played this week?
I haven't honestly had a lot of time for playing anything. It's been a very busy week. I have mostly spent my free time working on a summer showcase.
Yeah, same. I've not had a lot of time for a lot of things either. It's going to be a short-ish one, I suspect, this week.
I suspect you are correct. But that's alright, because I've got lots of other editing to do.
I have lots of trying to catch up with a little bit of rest to do.
But I have been taking a little bit of time to do my good zen out game. I've been playing some more Planet Crafter.
Yeah, how's it been going?
It's been interesting because, I'd played, most of the content through before 1.0 release, and I think by virtue of playing it pretty much as things were being added, that maybe I was able to get a little bit ahead on certain things. And it's not been until sort of properly going, okay, new thing, I'm going to start like a whole new save from the very start, that I've realised just how long it takes to get from start position to where I currently am. Like, I'm getting quite near endgame stuff. There's still a good amount of stuff to unlock, but I've got, I think I'm like 30% of the way to having animals on the planet, which is like pretty much all the way planet terraformed. But also, like, there is tons of stuff to do with regards to, like, getting enough, like, I haven't actually got animals unlocked yet. I have got a decent amount of, like, insects and, I've got fish. I guess fish count. And amphibians. I've got amphibians. But I don't have mammalian life yet. It's been really interesting, there is some genuinely, like, full-on new stuff in that game from when I was playing through it. It feels like a good few things have been changed. I think there's some quality of life stuff. That, like, I'm fairly certain there's a shortcut to one particular area that I'm sure wasn't there when I started the save. Like, maybe I could start another save and double check it, but I feel like... So there's this whole section that's near, like, a, almost like a lunar landscape. Whenever you go near it, everything goes very dark. There's all these cool twinkly rocks everywhere. It's a good place to pick up spare pulsar quartz sort of fairly early game. But at some point, these huge trees erupted from this, like, massive rock wall quite near the start position, and now leads pretty much straight to that area. I was like, I don't remember this being here earlier, but it's really fucking convenient. I've literally only today managed to get drones back in, which is saving a huge amount of time, because up until now there'd been a lot of, cool, well, I do have teleporters unlocked, but I don't have any way to make pulsar quartz yet, so I don't want to waste my pulsar quartz on teleporters, because I would also need, like, 7 level 3 nuclear power plants just to power each one. But, like, also, I need to get, quite vast distances across the map to unlock certain things and uncover things. I'm still finding, like, this game has a lot of, like, you'll be flying around or running around around the map, and you'll find, like, what looks like a little set of stairs leading you down, and there'll be like an underground base, and there'll be a bit of plot to find down there about whoever had built this little underground base. Sometimes it will lead to other bits of plot, which are quite interesting. It does a good job of interesting environmental storytelling in that respect of, you just stumble across it, and maybe it will lead you to something else, or maybe it will just be like a little contained thing, or maybe it will just make you a bit sad about the history of this planet. Like, I feel like I've done the main storyline stuff, but I'm still stumbling on a lot of these, hey, there was a survivor here before me and they had a really bad time. And, yeah, it's been interesting stumbling along extra bits of that either wasn't in the game before or I have never previously found. But, yeah, apparently I've put 130 hours into that game total.
Nice!
I don't know how much of that was before, a bit before 1.0, but I'm enjoying it so far. And yeah, and they've already had another patch with like a whole bunch of extra stuff in it. So it seems like there is more stuff coming. I think my only gripe with that game would be it doesn't feel that much developed from what it was throughout most of early access. Like there is still like a staggering amount of pop in. There are still some weird collision issues in certain places. If you look at, like, the main map from above in certain spots, you can just see, like, straight lines where one biome meets another. But it's still a really good game.
Yeah.
But hopefully they will No Man's Sky it, and it will one day feel more complete and cohesive and less a little bit janky, but amazing gameplay loop that's great fun to play.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you played anything else?
Really not much.
No?
Nightmare Kart's really the only new thing I've put any time into. It's largely been brain off in between work.
Yeah, a little bit of Thousand Year Door still.
A little bit of Thousand Year Door, I'm still plodding along with that. I'm having a good time with it. Mario and friends are currently deserted on an island after a boat crashed.
They have dessert.
They've yet to find... I say they yet to find dessert. They did find some things you could maybe classify as dessert on that island.
Tasty snack.
Yeah, yum yum yum.
Yum yum yum.
Just plodding away with Paper Mario in between work stuff. Have you been playing anything else?
Well, we managed a game of Caverna.
We did.
Caverna. It's a game about being creatures who normally about dwarfs who live in a cave, and you're trying to build a family and mine out your cave and grow crops and so forth. Yeah. And this was the first time we'd played with the expansions.
Where you can be different kinds of creatures.
Yes, although, interestingly, we both ended up with quite similar creatures.
Yeah, so these different classes are they'll have 4 things that they do differently that are unique to them, and they're not that complicated. No. For mine, it was, there was definitely some overlap with, I was playing the, Iron Dwarves or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And their whole thing was, you don't get penalties for any areas above ground that you don't put tiles on.
That you don't mine out, you don't deforest.
Yep, so, you don't have to worry about the above ground section of the board. You can hang things off the edge of the mine board, so you can sort of build a little bit further out than you otherwise would be able to, and that gets you victory points.
Yeah, you were getting 2 coins every time you dangled something off the end.
And the other big thing I could do was I could use stone or ore for anything that would need to otherwise be made with wood. So I was very flexible with what I could build.
Yeah, that really worked for you.
And you were the...
I were the pale ones, who had a similar thing of not needing to do anything above ground and being able to dangle stuff over the edge of the caves. And that was letting me get a mushroom and a coin every time I dangled over the edge. And the mushrooms could be planted underground as a way of getting crops to feed my peoples. And yeah, that was interesting. It was harder to get going than I had hoped.
Yeah.
I had intentions of... my plan right from the beginning had been I'll have a bunch of open space and I'll just plant mushrooms in there and I'll have just an abundance of mushrooms, and it just didn't quite work out well enough. And there's probably a few things I could have futzed around with to try and make it work better, but ultimately it was a bit of a struggle to get my attempt at an engine going, and it did not help me terribly much, but it's a fun game, and I think it's one that serves better to do a few games of in quick succession to try and remember how build engine. Yeah. How do the best with that, because it's Uwe Rosenberg, so it's naturally a little bit more really gritty Euro, and but less less grueling than something like Agricola, which is basically this is a sequel or upgrade to. But yeah, really enjoyed playing Agricola again. I Caverna again. I love all the little wooden pieces, all the little wooden sheeps and donkeys and cows and little boars. It was adorable. Well, if that's everything we've played,
well then, time for this.
You know them AI things that a lot of companies are using now. They've got rid of all their customer support people and just replaced it with an AI chatbot that pops up on their website or something. Yeah, and most of the time, there's bullshit and people getting in trouble and stuff. We've had that whole thing about,
the car warehouse said that, I could have a car for £1.
Yeah.
That was your official policy, it said.
Yeah.
Or the airline said I could have free tickets. You say I said I could. That
sort of stuff. Well, I figure, that is, costing them money, right? And that's costing them money, and there's, all sorts of problems with that. Obviously, we know that it's not very environmentally sound, right?
Yeah.
And I figure, if there's someone who's like waiting in the environment, it's me, right? And I can also confidently bullshit, right?
You
So
can,
I figure, I could be like an AI chatbot. It would just be like actually Ian. It's actually Ian being a chatbot. Hello.
Hello.
Customer service. Yeah, whatever, mate. Yeah.
I mean, you could say stuff that sounds like a human would say it, and may or may not be accurate.
Exactly.
You could probably do that.
Yeah, I could do that for all of the companies all at once. Right? Yeah, I just give boilerplate answers to everyone, regardless of whether it's appropriate or not. And how is that technically any worse than what AI is doing already? Yeah. Actually, Ian, give it a try. .lol.net.
Meow.
Hey.
Meow.
Hey, kitty.
Meow.
Hey.
Stay here. I am soft.
Look, I did warn you like 5 minutes ago I was gonna have to get up.
No, you said to work, and I should be work instead.
Unfortunately, that's not how it works.
But I'm very soft. You don't understand.
Yeah, I do understand. You're very soft. But I have to be on a call for a meeting, and then I've gotta write up the reports.
Reports with my paws.
Well, yeah, and then
I could rip things with my paws.
I've got to go to the post office and mail some bits into head office.
No posters.
And you are very soft, but
very soft.
That's not going to pay for all the cat food, though.
Out you get, off you go, bye. Cat food. Yeah.
Hi, thank you. You're the PR company. Very happy that you're able to see me to fit me in today, because of course snap election wasn't really expecting that.
Yes, okay.
Yes. So I'm standing as an independent because I've been kicked out of all the parties, as I'm sure you're aware.
Indeed you have.
I'm very important and very, very wealthy, and I just need to be seen as a bit more of a man of the people, that sort of thing.
Okay, well, I've been brainstorming how we can improve your public image.
Right.
And, my suggestion of where we start is
bus, something on a bus.
No,
something about migrants.
How would you feel about getting humiliated in public so you look like you're under attack, sort of an underdog, a man of the people?
Oh, I mean, I am a man of the people who went to a private school and was privately educated. My parents were billionaires, and all my money is in offshore investments, and I do take lots of money from Russian oligarchs and that sort of thing, but humiliated? What sort of thing do you think? Like spanking? Was it?
I was thinking
like back at school.
I was thinking we oh god, I was thinking we start with maybe stage a milkshaking. Someone
yes, I've been milkshakes before, but like a staged one. Oh, that's very clever.
Maybe a staged punch in the face.
Well, staged, of course.
Staged, of course.
Well, I mean, I suppose that'll give me a lot of the so much for the tolerant left.
Right.
People will be very impressed.
Right, and if you want even more so much of the tolerant left, how about a staged being pushed off a boat, tied to a bloody stake into shark-infested waters?
Right.
I guess the most underdog you could possibly be.
If you think it would be good for the campaign.
If it would make you such an underdog, it would be very smart.
Very, very, very smart.
Everyone would be rooting for you.
Oh, you think I'd be smart?
I think all eyes would be on you, and you would be the talk of the town that day, I think.
Well, I mean, I think as long as it's going to push the numbers up, I think that's probably for the best.
It would push some numbers up.
Oh, I see you have a bucket of chum already.
Oh, I've been ready for this.
So, what have you put in your eyes?
Well, we saw a film together that we had very differing perspectives we came to it from. We saw Haikyuu, the dumpster battle.
We did.
Which is, I've talked about Haikyuu on here before, it's a volleyball anime. The general gist of it is you've got your two central characters, one of whom it was incredibly talented at, passing the ball exactly where he needs to, but he's fucking arrogant and doesn't get on well with other people. And the person who has, ridiculous athleticism, but not really the skill to know how to use it. And the two of them make an unlikely little pair that are going to be great at volleyball alongside the rest of their friends. Time to go do volleyball adventures.
Yeah.
And this was a movie that is one volleyball match from a ways into a tournament that was sort of a rematch with some people that were like some rivals from earlier in the series. I am up to date on Haikyuu. You have never seen Haikyuu before.
I have never seen Haikyuu before.
What did you make of Haikyuu seeing a random match in the cinema?
I mean, I didn't really know like any of the characters. I didn't have any tie to any of that stuff. But I think it did a really good job of having enough stuff of flashback and memory of important moments between these characters that it almost explained itself.
Yeah.
Which from the sounds of it, because we talked about it afterwards, is like, that wasn't bothering you in a kind of, oh yeah, yep, yes,
Yeah.
yes, we remember, you don't have to show us.
As someone who's recently rewatched all of Haikyuu, it didn't feel like it was hitting me over the head with like way too much of a thing I know.
Yeah,
but there was enough of it.
Dragon Ball that used to do a lot of like, we're gonna recap stuff that happened earlier this episode.
I think it walked a really good line between some of you will already know this and some of you might have no idea.
And some of you might have just forgotten.
Yeah, how it did a good job of doing flashbacks specifically, like, not so much to events that happened, but like, what are the character dynamic things you need to know? Here is just enough of these characters interacting at the past to go, I understand what stakes that has for today.
Here's them being younger. Like, I think really the only bit of information that I really needed that you had given me prior was that they were rival teams and they had trained together.
Yeah.
And that this was basically them coming back together after sort of being trained together with, like a sort of scrappy team that no one really believed in and quite a good, really going somewhere team.
Yeah, wanting their chance to finally go like, hey, take the practice gloves off. Like, we want an actual match where it's like, whoever wins, they're the only one that gets to keep going in this tournament.
Yeah, like I'm sure I would have picked up on a lot of that eventually, but I think that was probably the one that really helped everything not feel completely overwhelming. It's beautifully animated.
Oh, Haikyuu is gorgeously animated, and I kind of respect that they didn't at any point in this movie do usually the thing they have in their playbook that's very visually Haikyuu is in the show they will often do this one person hitting the ball or doing the thing right now is we want to really emphasize how dramatic this moment is. The whole art style will just change for about 4 seconds, and you will have like a completely different art style to emphasize the power of a hit or something. And they never quite did that in this. But I'm like, I respect that. You left something that the show can have that it is its own. But they did do a lot of really interesting stuff visually. Without going into depth, there is a segment near the end that involves a first-person perspective that I thought was, like, very effectively used.
Yeah, I think for the most part that was great. There is one little bit of that where it starts doing, like, a pan around the court. And at first there was a little bit of judder, and I was like, this happens sometimes when watching anime on big screens or at a low frame rate, and it's got a bit of a judder to it. But then it became very intentionally juddery.
Yeah.
And almost painful, and I don't know if that was just me.
No, I get what you're on. It was not the whole first-person segment. I know the bit you mean. It was clearly trying to convey something about the emotional state of the first-person person.
Yes.
But it was... It was quite intense in how it did it. It's not one-to-one, but it's similar to that. If you struggle with auditory sensory overwhelm, you might struggle a bit with Hellblade in headphones.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's that...
It reminded me of Steph talking about motion blurring games.
Yeah. It was effectively conveying something, but it was a lot.
And it's not, like, super long. It's maybe, like, 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But, like, I was a bit like, please no more by the end of it. And...
Yeah.
It's not a lot. It's well, I mean, it's a lot in the moment, but like I think you can get past it fairly easily.
Yeah. Some things I really liked about it. I liked the use of different camera shots to sort of progress time, because it's 3 rounds of, like, first to 25. And they did, like, there's a lot of, like, individual point scoring that sort of gets skimmed over to get to the bits where the point changing is dramatic.
Yeah, you have a couple of, like, little montage moments of a close-up on the ref, whistle, point one side, whistle, point the other side, whistle, point one side. Just like, those were inconsequential, but now we're going to have some...
Yeah, and, like, some of that is masked by, like, oh, we're doing a flashback to a story thing and some points will get scored while that's happening. But I like that they did, like, here is the camera feed of the zoomed-out shot from a distance where you just see all the players from a distance.
Yes.
Here is it's on the TV and being watched by someone in a different setting, just to give you, like, little differences of scale of how you're seeing the match before it gets back into the... Here is the very sort of, like, on-the-person-centric... bit of it.
Yeah, I got quite emotional at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there was a moment, like, relatively early on, I was like, it's a game whereby one can, you can win or lose, and it's going to be like a best of 3. So that what's going to happen is somebody's going to win. There's no way it's going to be someone wins 2 consecutive games and it's over.
Yeah, but...
And I was, like, perfectly ready for that.
Yeah, but I think even so, like, they did a solid 3-act narrative of, like, even if you can probably guess, like, oh, well, this team won the first round, that team's probably going to win round 2 in order to, like, even it up. But the how was really interesting, particularly for that second... Because, like, again, without getting too much into specifics, the way that the first round went was like, oh, there is quite a dramatic problem being presented for at least one player not knowing how to get around something. Here's your act 2 of, that player's probably going to find a way around it, but how? Like, what's the thing that's going to bring them back into the game? And...
Yeah, and this was technically only my second sports anime.
Yeah,
after Yuri on Ice.
Yeah.
But it did remind me of how, when we were watching Forest of Piano together, you'd said, this has real sports anime vibes. And it's like, oh, now having seen, like, a full-on sports anime, I get it.
Yes, because, like, yeah, Yuri on Ice is definitely a sports anime, but Haikyuu is a little bit more into the sport is going to be just a bit more frequently the thing that is happening, and a little less of the away from the sport. It just moves the needle a little bit on the. And
I think volleyball works very well for that, because it's doing, like, it's got its breaks, it's got its, like, okay, team huddle, we're gonna have little conversations about things. You've got, like, getting in people's heads, but for important things, rather than stuff that happened earlier that day.
Yeah, I am a big fan of Haikyuu. I think it's very sweet. I enjoy it a lot.
I could watch more of that.
Yeah, I'm very up for rewatching Haikyuu from the start again if you fancy watching Haikyuu.
Sure.
What about you? What you put in your eyes this week?
Talking of things we could watch, we've been watching the last series of Discovery.
The most recent season.
The end of Discovery.
I've lost track of what season number it is.
This is season 5.
Season 5. We somehow missed entirely that it happened.
Yeah, surprisingly, we usually have a friend who very excitedly is like, "Have you seen the new episode yet?" Oh my god. And yeah, we managed to get to we got to the end of it, and I'm in a few, like, Star Trek groups on like various social media, and I'd expected to hear more about it, but somehow I had completely missed the whole thing. So it's like, oh shit, well, we've got a whole series to start watching. I think we're about 4 episodes in. Very much enjoying it so far, and fascinated by how they're going to wrap it all up, and hopefully they stuck the landing. And yes, hopefully we can avoid spoilers before we get to that. But yeah, it's been nice to have a Star Trek, because it feels like a while since, I guess, Strange New Worlds would have been the last one. Feels like it's been a while since we last had an ongoing Star Trek to watch, and I do enjoy my treks. Yeah, it's been good. There's been some fascinating stories, interesting, like, character work from certain people. No spoilies. Some fascinating, like, character interactions, because we've had a little bit of a crew change up in a few places. Apparently, like, a couple of the, like, major crew bridge crew, they had other obligations, so they had to go and be in other places. Apparently, like, it's quite noticeable that certain members of the bridge crew that are usually, like, big important bits are just, like, missing for huge chunks of the season. It's like, I guess that's why we spend not a huge amount of time on the bridge so far. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I particularly enjoy that show. I'm almost thinking it might be worth watching the whole thing from the beginning again. Because it feels so long since that first season.
That first season feels a million years ago, and I'm very up for giving it all the way through a rewatch at some point soon.
Yes, and just hopefully many of the people involved will get to be in. I think Section 31 is the next Star Trek series that's coming out with Michelle Yeoh, basically still playing the same character from Disco, but now as part of Starfleet Special Forces. So that could be interesting. I do enjoy me and Trek. What about you? Have you watched anything else?
We watched a thing together today that I am very excited to see the second half of.
Oh, yes.
We continue to be big shills for Dropout. We are big believers that Dropout.tv is a very good streaming service. If you enjoy improv comedy, game showy content, Dropout is great. The current season of Game Changer is just having its season finale at the moment. We got the first part. We haven't seen part 2 of it yet.
Indeed.
Called Ratfish. Which the gist of this is a bunch of regular cast members on Dropout are all put in different hotel rooms to come up with a larger-than-life fictional character who they will portray purely through, essentially, like, Discord group text chats.
Yes.
Answering various prompts, interacting with each other in character, and everyone is trying to guess who else from Dropout is being which of these other these characters around the room.
So every now and again they're getting a chance to vote, and so far it's been which character, which is which actor, and then they're getting points for correctly guessing that person is involved in this particular show, and also like 3 points for if they've got that person connected.
Who they're playing as, correct.
They're not being told which one is the correct one.
They're being told, like, you got 5 points. I'm like, okay, cool, so I guess I got someone in the right role, but I don't know who I got in the right role.
Yeah, it's definitely telling them who that they did or did not get someone in the right role. So, but...
It's deeply engaging.
They've done amazing season finales on this show generally.
Yeah, they've done some very big concept ones with like a lot of technical, like last season's finale was Escape the Green Room.
Yes.
Where they turned the green room of the studio into an escape room set.
Yes.
This, in terms of what it is a bunch of people sat around doing text messages pretending to be characters. But they've done, I understand why they they needed to delay the finale to have more time in the edit.
Yes.
They've done a very good job of, like, making this chaotic group text into very engaging to watch well-edited TV.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that goes down to they're not getting the contestants to type their messages, they're reading their messages out loud and someone off-screen is typing them. That means that there's more of person who is being the character talking out loud. They're clearly fucking around a little bit with the display we're seeing on the TVs of the messages popping up is clearly not the real-time chat that was happening. Because, like, obviously, you're trying to tell storylines, and sometimes if you make one message come in later than another, it's easier to tell the storyline you're telling. And I'm like, they've done some very clever stuff to, like, make that a cohesive narrative. I'm very impressed how they've put it together.
This is the show that brought us very often the numbers you're seeing on the podiums when they're doing studio things were, like, edited in later on.
Yeah.
Because they may cut or add bits or shift bits around.
Yes.
For better pacing or whatever.
Yeah. Well, like, Sam Rice, who runs Dropout, has talked previously about one of the ways they are so consistently able to put out good improv comedy game show content is having additional rounds that never make it to air, so that you can go, cool, like, that round just didn't work, or someone was having an off round. We can just cut some answers, we can just, like, cut around here or there, so that all of the contestants are perceived as having been very on the ball.
Yeah.
And it's like, hell yeah. They're very good at crafting the edit.
It also gives them something to put in the sort of season closer when they're going and, like, unpacking a lot of, like, what was the season stuff, and then going, like, okay, so, like, the karaoke one is, I think...
Yeah.
Like, they've done a couple of episodes of the karaoke thing. They do a book with a bunch of a real singer and a fictional song title, and then basically like try and sing a song in that person's style
that would have that title,
and then they just have a very talented pianist who will just like play something, and they'll improv to it, and it's really well done.
Yeah.
But I think that's a prime example of, we've just, there were a bunch that weren't quite as good as others, but we can save them for the finale, and you can actually listen to them if you want.
Yeah. I continue to think that Dropout is superb. Like, I don't know if we've talked about one of the other series they've just done that just recently started, Smarty Pants.
I don't think we have.
The concept is very...
It's like debate club at school. You're presenting something possibly ridiculous.
Yeah, it's... Come up with a presentation to give the class on a very... Like, you come up with a silly topic, and you're taking it way too seriously, silly presentation. I enjoy it in the same way where I'm like, oh, this is the vibe when I was writing things I learned from Mario's butt.
Yes, very
It's
much.
take a silly topic, take it way too seriously, and do a silly little thing about it. And that's been real fun.
Yeah.
Dropout's good.
It really is.
What about you? You put anything else in your eyes?
Well, that's pretty much it for me.
Well then, time for this.
Hey, Laura.
Yes?
We've got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, do you want to tell a right-wing politician that you're not happy with them in some way?
Constantly.
Would you like to, perform some kind of a dirty protest that is basically harmless but somewhat humiliating?
I mean, I would never legally say that I would like to do that, because that seems like a foolish thing for me to do.
In Minecraft.
But in Minecraft. Yes, in Minecraft, I would love to have a harmless but mildly embarrassing to the politician way of doing some form of dirty protest. In Minecraft. With voxels. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this week's episode is politishake.lol.net. It's a milkshake perfectly formulated for maximum politician splatter coverage.
Ooh.
Don't worry about the flavour, just keep enjoying knowing that our formula prioritised thickness, sliminess, chunks, and cleaning resistance.
I have so many questions, and I don't want answers to any of them.
No, and you do not want to know what is with that trowel and those empty diapers.
Yeah, I think I can...
Because that stuff doesn't come off.
I think I can guess what...
Doesn't
I think I can guess what flavour it is.
So that's politishake.lol.net. Enter the code Q&PS. That's it, just Q&PS. Tell them we sent you. And you can get a Politishake in a Q&PS branded cup.
Ooh.
And then you can cover your right-wing politician of choice in what we are told to promise is absolutely, definitely not just recycled baby poop.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft. With voxels. Inside the boardroom of Supremacy Software.
Hi. So, we got bad news. We unfortunately got to announce.
Again?
We got, what do we got? We got those layoffs we got going on.
Oh, I love those.
I mean, look, they're great for us, but
Yeah.
the fans think they're bad
Solemn
news.
JPEG, solemn JPEG. Yeah,
Well, look, we've done a lot of solemn JPEGs recently.
Yeah.
People are getting caught on to the solemn JPEG.
Oh.
And it might not be as sincere as it is supposed to seem.
what if we change the frame around the words on that image?
We've tried every frame. They're getting wise. I think we can go
Right.
back to it in a couple of weeks, but we gotta come up with something new to put the definitely sad news out there. So I'll be working on something.
Right. What you got?
I got one of the interns to record just a little audio track that's like, unfortunately, we gotta lay off 90% of our workforce or whatever.
Yeah.
And I got them to edit into the new Call of Duty trailer that's going up at X3.
Right.
But it's just going to be very quiet and behind an explosion sound effect that's much louder.
Right.
Like,
So-
we've technically done the legally required
Yeah.
thing and announced the layoffs.
And also, cool explosions.
Cool explosion.
And I think, maybe this is the first time that I would be happy for someone else to be the one who announces that we're gonna lay a bunch of people off.
Well, look, here's my thinking.
Yeah.
If anyone like catches on and notices what we've done, we go, we put the announcement there because we're just so upset about the announcement. It's like
It's a blow.
It's blown a hole right in the middle of our
Checkbooks.
employee family.
Family, in the family. Yeah, in the heart of the family. Yeah.
It's like it's such a tough decision. It's like being in a war zone.
It's being ripped apart by, just thousands of tons of explosives.
the shrapnel
really
of
cool.
the really
tearing
cool
apart.
shrapnel of in terrible HR decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you reckon they'll buy that?
I think that's amazing. I think you are a fucking genius.
I know.
Hey, mind if I touch base with you about some of these scripts?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know how we fired all of the writers and we just figured we'd get like AI to generate all of our scripts for like all the big summer movies?
Yeah, of course. It's free. The people cost money. I get it.
Yeah,
I
plus
remember.
we don't want a repeat of like, the writer strikes or the actor strikes. We just replace everybody with AI and then we don't have to put up with that bullshit.
Yeah.
And they will know that they have done wrong. But I'm a little bit concerned about some of the scripts that AI has been kicking out.
What's wrong with them?
Well, a surprising number of them, well, all of them, seem to have a lot of themes about AI being disappointing and all of these cool, attractive, rich people lose all of their money that they invested, and some of them end with guillotines and have a real anti-capitalist vibe, and I'm not cool with that.
No, that's it's not great.
Yeah, I mean, we got that prompt guy we hired. We made a big thing of hiring a prompt guy.
Yeah,
we're paying them fairly.
He was supposed to be like a wizard at putting the words in to make it say good stuff.
Yeah, I watched the first few and they came out great, but it just seems like whatever the language model's being trained on is just slowly generating more and more stuff that's very, very anti-AI and the people who use it.
Ha.
Could we go back to maybe exploiting someone instead?
I mean, at least if we exploit someone, they have to look at our face if they're gonna write a character that we won't like.
Yeah,
And that'll put the fear of God into them in a way that a computer doesn't really seem to get.
and I bet we can get some of those writers back real cheap now.
Oh, hell yeah.
Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Social Justice Warriors.
Social Justice Warriors?
Yeah.
All right, Larry.
What, mate? How you doing?
Oh, a bit sleepy, if I'm honest, mate. It's weird temperature-wise, I think, recently. It's been a bit of an odd transition into the new season.
Yeah, same.
You doing all right?
I'm doing all right. Just getting by. You been up to much?
Oh, I've been, just mainly doom scrolling, I'll be honest, mate. But, trying to find anything for a bit of a laugh, for a bit of entertainment. To come across a thing recently. I mean, and I suppose it's part of a larger problem. This whole concept of cringe.
Oh yeah.
Is that something you're into? Oh, that's cringe.
Oh yeah.
Is that something that brings you a moment of joy in this frankly terrifying, unpleasant, dreadful world?
How dare you find joy in something, just something silly and fun?
There must be only horrors and heavy drinking, I suppose, if you live in the UK. But it's just it feels weird to me because I think. Things were obviously very different for boomers, and I think they weirdly somehow I think it is an internalised boomer thing of you like a thing for young people.
Oh,
you like a thing that was cool when you were young. Oh, well, that's very cringe of you. And
you haven't locked your childhood away in a box, never to be thought of again.
Yeah. Oh, was that a toy you played with as a child? But now you have hundreds of pounds of detailed scale models of that sort of thing, do you? Oh, that's there for derision or whatever. It's like, just let people enjoy things. Let people find moments of comfort and happiness.
It's all right to have unironic enjoyment of things, to just enjoy a thing purely because it is enjoyable and not have to be productive or what. Why do we say that there is this particular thing? There is an age limit on when you can you can't enjoy that anymore. But so it's nice things,
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I understand that some people do grow out of stuff, and that's fine. But I don't see why there should be any need for people to go, I'm in my 30s now or whatever. I probably shouldn't be playing with this thing that still brings me immense joy. I suppose Pokemon's a thing that's been around since I was a bit older, but I think people who were enjoying it as very young children probably now enjoying it well into their 30s, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't see any need for that. Maybe they're getting the fancy die-cast metal things and the really fancy detailed models. Why, if that brings you joy, if that brings you happiness, I think nobody has any right to slag that off or say that that's childish. Just let people enjoy things, and certainly if you're someone who doesn't necessarily have any interest like that yourself. But don't, turn around and crap on it for other people, and certainly don't go, destroying, say, your partner's things if they happen to be into, something that is perhaps you consider designed for, an audience of teens or younger necessarily.
Yeah.
Speaking of things we enjoy, do you fancy ugly?
Oh, yeah.
Get on, mate. I'm never going to grow out of those.
Oh, never.
Right, I think I'll pop the kettle on.
Sounds lovely.
Nice.
So you are online and a doer of things in many places. Where can people find the things that you do, and how find more Laura?
How find more Laura? You find more Laura K Buzz pretty much everywhere on the internet. I've got that good unified branding. Laura K Buzz on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Patreon, that's the one that pays the bills. Ooh. Blue Sky, Mastodon. Friday, June 7th. 4 p.m. UK, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, the Accessibility Summer Showcase 2024. 45 minutes, 20 games. Come find out about a bunch of video games that are accessible for disabled players and that are also just cool video games. What about you? Where are you at on the internet?
Well, I don't have unified branding, but I do have a linktree. It's linktree.ee/Janiac, Janiaac. You can find all the things I've written, the music I've made, the t-shirts I've designed. You can help support me at patreon.com/stonedmonkeyradio. For as little as $1 a month, you can help me justify all of the time trying to make people laugh. And also, you can now find me as a regular host on Humans Holler at News with Lauren yelling at me. The most recent episode, I believe, will be going public soon. And you were an guest on that.
I was.
Yeah, we hollered at some news. It was good. But yeah, that's all of the things. So, Laura,
Yeah.
will you sing us out, please, darling?
Until next time, be a stranger.